So 9 out of 10 times when I go to my fragrance wardrobe and choose a fragrance, it's generally going to be some sort of variation of a floral fragrance. Maybe 80% of my fragrances are flower centric one way or another. I have a lot of different fragrances, but for the most part there's going to be a floral focus in all of them. And I guess simply put, prettiest things in nature, the pretty smelling things in nature are flowers. It's what I'm drawn to, and it's what I personally enjoy wearing the most. I'm not just saying that because it is the spring here in the UK, and when it's spring, nature begins living again. Flowers start popping up, everything gets greener, birds start chirping more, life is beginning all over again. But floral fragrances are not just for spring. They should be appreciated all year round. I definitely enjoy having a ton of floral fragrance options for the whole year. So I have an overwhelming number of floral perfumes that I could show in this video, but I decided to cherry pick it down to showing just 3 that I most strongly associate and most enjoy, I suppose, in each season. With a few honourable mentions, I couldn't leave out all of them. There's just so many that I want to talk about, but I have cherry picked my favourite 3 for each season. So we're in spring, let's just start with spring. So the kind of florals that I start thinking about for spring, and the ones that I tend to gravitate towards, the ones that are maybe slightly green, have a little bit of a brightness from a green touch, generally are a little bit crisp, maybe even a chypre, ones that lean cold and clean, and just generally awakening and invigorating. So the first one I'm going to talk about is one that I do tend to circle around to every spring, and I've talked about it so many times, and it has all the elements that I love. It's slightly green, it's crisp, it's clean, it's not sharp, has an invigorating feel, and it's a little bit dewy as well. I love dewy florals. So from the house of Maison Dior, this is Lucky. And I do talk about this fragrance a lot because I just enjoy it so much. So it's very, very simple, focusing on Lily of the Valley. Lily of the Valley can sometimes come across a little bit vintage in fragrances, a little bit musky, sometimes too soapy, or it's often paired with jasmine or other white florals, which make it sometimes indolic, sometimes, like I say, yeah, a little bit vintage. But this one is so sparkling and crystal clear, and it's really just about the Lily of the Valley. I specifically think of spring because it has that lovely green freshness to it. It's a little bit soapy, but not in a soft, warm, cloying way. It's just a sparkling, refreshing kind of way. It feels watery and dewy and kind of perfect for spring. So that's my first pick, that is Lucky. My second top pick for spring is actually one I think of most in the spring, although I do wear it all year round, but I wear it most in the spring. And it's not green and it's not crisp, but it is slightly dewy, and it does lean kind of cold. And it's an iris fragrance, and it is Athalia from Parfums de Marly. I think I always overlook how fond I am of this fragrance when I look at my whole collection. I recently did my top 15 fragrances, and I left out Athalia, which I think was a bit of an oversight because I really do enjoy this scent. So there are certain elements that stand out to me as something that I crave that I don't have in other fragrances. For spring, this works for me because I think of April showers. I think of a rainy day when I wear this. Now, although it's not crisp and sparkling, it's actually quite a soft, irisy kind of scent. It does have elements that make it seem quite hazy and dewy to me. I believe there is ambroxan in here. I think it just really does lift this scent up and give it the quality that I enjoy so much. It has a sort of doll's head iris, that kind of plasticky doll's head, but it doesn't feel heavy, it doesn't feel vintage. It actually feels quite modern with the bright orange blossom in there as well. And like I say, I can wear this all year round, but for spring it just seems to work. It's a little melancholic and demure. It's a little demure, and it suits, like I say, it suits those rainy days for me, melancholic rainy days. And you got to have those rainy days if you want the flowers to open and the green to look even greener. So I love this scent and I love the association of it. So that's my second pick, that is Athalia. And my third pick is relatively new fragrance in my collection, but I haven't been able to put it down this spring. I'm enjoying it so much. I've immersed myself into the floral explosion that is this scent. And I'm trying to wipe all the fingerprints off it because the bottle is so beautiful. It just feels terrible to display it with fingerprints. So from Roja Dove, this is the new launch. This is Elysium. Now you've got rose, freesia, I think there's peach in here. There's a lot of notes in here, but I just don't focus on anything specifically. For me, it is just this charming and stunning floral bouquet. So many flowers all in one bouquet that I don't pick out anything specifically other than colours. I can be quite influenced by the bottle, and I do pick out a lot of colours, like rainbow floral flowers in a bouquet. People that know their individual flowers, I think, do pick out the freesia a lot, and they also do pick out the peach, although it's not a flower, that's a note people pick out. But my brain won't focus on one thing, it just wants to enjoy the entire scent in its entirety and just enjoy it for what it is. I think it has slight green touches, which is probably another reason I enjoy it so much. It does have a certain brightness, a certain freshness, and a sort of crystal clear quality about it. It makes me think of a floral body lotion or like a lotion feel about it. There's not a strong scent. This is not a heavy floral. This to me is an easy, everyday, bouncy floral. And if I absolutely had to tell you what flower this most makes me think of when I smell it as a whole, is a flower that's not even listed really, and that's wisteria. I love the smell of wisteria. It's so hard to describe it. It's just like the perfect smelling flower, aside from a rose. Now we know I love my rose, but a wisteria, it smells pinky purple. It has a softness to it, but also a brightness to it. And although this has the greener, brighter, fruity touches, overall it smells like the closest thing I've ever smelt to a wisteria, which makes me love it even more. And there's a wisteria growing in my mum's garden right now, and it's so beautiful. That's my association now, is just this spring wisteria. That's my third pick. I love Elysium. So as mentioned earlier, I couldn't do a video of florals without mentioning, you know, a few others that I couldn't leave out. I'm not going to focus on them too much, but these are just a few honourable mentions. This is Lady Blanche. I wanted to mention this one because this really is just for spring. I don't wear it often because it has a certain way about it. It's a very soapy, soft, smooth scent, which reminds me of Bluebell soap, and I have to really be in the mood for this one, but it is just a spring association. Another quick spring association for me is Beautiful Nightingale from Zoologist. This is actually like a chypre, sharp woody kind of a rose scent, quite a sharp chypre, kind of vintage smelling one, but it is absolutely stunning. So there's that honourable mention. And the last one I will mention, I'm not cheating too much I hope, but another honourable mention, which is discontinued, so I won't linger anyway, is my beloved Elysium EDT, the beautiful whimsical violet iris fragrance with ivy and other woody green touches. This is one I will crave on days when there's a certain atmosphere. Spring days when there's an air of whimsy. It's just such a beautiful little violet fragrance. It's a magical little thing for spring. So that's Elysium EDT. So let's move into summer. So my three fragrances I've chosen, I mostly wear in summer and most associate with summer. I think summer for most people is the season of wearing fruity fragrances, tropical, a little bit exotic, all that kind of thing. I think fresh fruity fragrances are my least favoured style of scent. I generally never fancy wearing a fruity fragrance. I'm all about the roses. I think I've made that evidently clear that I'm just a rose kind of girl. A rose can be pulled in so many different directions. I didn't have a rose-centric fragrance for spring, but I've definitely got one here for summer. And it's the one I've had the longest, I think, since collecting fragrances. From the house of Christian Dior, the Colle Noire. The Colle Noire is such a pretty rose fragrance. It's a fruity rose. It has green touches and a slightly musky touch as well. It has these sort of pops of sweet fruit. I think there's lemon and raspberry in here. And I do think you get the lemon. I think it's as though the rose petals have a sort of splash of lemon water on them. But I love the raspberry because that makes the rose feel pink. It feels like a pink sweet rose with a little splash of lemon. But there is a sort of very subtle green stemmy touch to this as well, which is quite a pretty, easy wearing scent. And I could wear this any time of the year if I was feeling like it. But for summer, I think it really shines. Fruits really work with this rose. It's a very elegant fragrance. And for a fruity floral, it's, you know, surprisingly elegant. And I think I like that it has that elegant touch while being quite refreshing and familiar with its rose. I think it's beautiful for the summer. I think it'd be a beautiful bridal scent. So that's my first choice, the Colle Noire. And second, I'm going to choose one from Ormonde Jayne. And this is Champaca. There's a grubby mark on my thumb and it's really annoying me, so I'm trying to twist my thumb so you can't see it. I think that's pen. I just tried to rub it off and it won't come off. This is such a beautiful, refreshing floral fragrance. Just such a sunny, clean, but sort of unique way about it. I don't know much about the Champaca flower, but there's a fluffy nature to this, what is quite a refreshing, watery scent. There's bamboo in the top notes. We've got, I think there's freesia, you've got rice in here, you've got the Champaca. I think there's also myrrh in the base. There's some really unusual notes. I'm not familiar with bamboo. There's definitely a watery, there's a strange watery quality, which is very lightly aromatic, both refreshing and fluffy and elegant and simple and sunny and slightly unusual, beautiful for summer. And I will only wear this in summer. It's an easy reach that is refreshing and elegant at the same time, lightly aromatic, but mostly it does feel floral. Floral in a sunny, petally kind of way. That's my second pick, Champaca from Ormonde. And my third choice for the association for me for summer, although I could pick so many of my florals because they're just so beautiful. It's one from Dusita, and it is called La Dusita de Siam. This is an exotic kind of a scent. This is quite exotic, not tropical. It doesn't have that beachy coconut, you know, mango, I don't know, palm sort of scent. It's exotic. This is exotic yellow florals. And all the beautiful yellow exotic florals in here are fat and bursting with pollen. And I can imagine this little bumblebee bum covered in pollen, loaded up with all this pollen to take back to the hive, busying himself and just fluffy and happy. Is a Champaca? Oh, there is Champaca in here actually, isn't there? Ylang ylang, frangipani. You've got this beautiful rose. I had to just spray it because I haven't sprayed this since last summer, and I'm trying to describe it from memory, which isn't good. I've just sprayed it, and the thing which is very evident is this honey note. It's very honey polleny. I can imagine the rose being pink, but the pink is so bright, almost neon, because it's been shone with all these other yellow flowers. And the flowers feel voluptuous. They're just rich and beautiful. The only gripe with this scent is the actual overall strength is very weak. It's quite light and quite fleeting, which is such a shame because I really have to overspray this scent. The liquid is actually pink, but I don't think my camera's picking that up. So that's my third pick. That is the very bright and alluring exotic beauty that is La Dusita de Siam. And I've got two honourable mentions. The first one is from the house of Maison Lancôme, Rose Pioneer. Now this one is again a rose fragrance, but the reason I like wearing this in the summer is because there's something so dewy and wet and just so moorish. It works in the summer. It is rose and peony in this fragrance. You've also got raspberry. There's also pink pepper in here. Sparkly, dewy, Turkish delight. It's fresh, it's watery. It works for summer. It's not got big gourmand scent at all. It has this lovely, dewy, sparkly way about it. Pink and sweet and fresh and so pretty. It's a beautiful one for summer. So that's honourable mention. So when it comes to autumn, the association is to sort of wave goodbye to a lot of the big, juicy, fruity fragrances and start welcoming a lot of the warmer, kind of tasty ones, whether they're boozy, whether they're woody. It just rolls with the season and the things associated with the season. I do have vanillas and woody scents and boozy scents that I do start to crave. I'm still craving my florals though. And the florals that I start to crave naturally are going to start being paired with these more seasonal materials and seasonal associations. Let's start with one from BDK. This is the end of summer, beginning of autumn. It's sunny and bright, but it is warm and boozy. And it's a jasmine fragrance. And I'm just not a big jasmine lover, but obviously when it's done a certain way, I can tolerate it. It actually comes off like a floral cider in a way, a really warm, muted cider kind of scent. Nothing sharp, just really warm and kind of smooth, quite sunny and bright. So I don't think of this as a really heavy, cold weather scent because there's this lovely, warm, fluffy breeze blowing through it. And I really picture, every time I smell this, I get the same image in my head, and it's very strong, of an orchard. It's the end of summer, it's beginning of autumn, and you've got this orchard and all the apples are fallen from the tree and they're on the ground and the sun is setting. There's this beautiful golden glow through the trees from the setting sun, but there's also this breeze, this lovely warm breeze, and it's carrying the final flurry of jasmine that's been growing. It's just the final end of jasmine mingling with all these warm, fermenting, appley, woody scents. It's a little whimsical. I can imagine wood nymphs buzzing around. I don't know. So yeah, woody, fruity, floral, slightly boozy, slightly sunny, not too heavy, golden, absolutely stunning for an early autumn day. So that's my first choice. That's Wood Jasmine from BDK. So next we have another one from Parfums de Marly. This is Meliora. Meliora doesn't get talked about enough, I think. It gets overshadowed from Delina and the others. This is so pretty. This is a vanillic floral, a berry floral. There's rose. I think there is jasmine in here. This is all about the berries. This is about the berries and the florals. Bramble berry sort of scent. You've got blackberry, blackcurrant. I think is there a red currant in here as well? Elegant, lotiony feel from like this vanilla musk base. Berries make me think of berries still on the bush. So I'm getting this association of branches and leaves. I'm thinking about them when I smell it. It's so pretty, this scent. It's so beautiful. But this is my Brambleberry Floral Fragrance. It's pretty and elegant enough to be a bridal scent. It's just very pretty, elegant. Yeah, autumn association for me. That's a very beautiful Meliora from Parfums de Marly. And my third choice, I'm getting heavier and sweeter and denser, and almost bridging into the winter with this one. Rose Rouge from Van Cleef and Arpels. Very much a woody, fruity floral. So it's raspberry and rose. I think there is blackcurrant in here. You've got chocolate, you've got patchouli and vetiver. It's very woody. There is balance for what is a very, very sweet rose. The raspberry really does make this so much sweeter. The rose always to me smells red, because I think it's association of that berry. It's very blended with the berry. It's very, very, very sweet. It's very jammy sweet. It's a lovely rose jam with that woody, lovely background. It has like an evening appropriateness from that sort of darker elements of those woods and a bit of chocolate in there. So yeah, one of my favourite rose fragrances, isn't it? It works so well in autumn. So that is Rose Rouge from Van Cleef and Arpels. And there was another little cheeky mention of another one. I really wanted to mention this scent because it's so unique and it doesn't really ever get talked about at all. It's very unusual. It's from the house of Exaltatum, and it's called Mimosa Gold. So this is a mimosa-centric fragrance, but it has this really unusual, grassy, gourmandish way about it. The scent itself is very fixed and stable, like it's one scent. It's not moving around, but yet it's pulling in so many different directions. It's such a hard one to describe, but honestly, what I always think of is this little ball of marzipan that's been rolling around in fields in autumn. So there's just hay and husks and debris and all dried, you know, dried matter, including leaves and all sorts, that are all rolled up over this little ball of marzipan, and it makes it smell greener and drier, but it really works. It's almost got a slight Play-Doh vibe to it. It's a scent between marzipan and Play-Doh, but it has such a sunny golden hue about it. Mimosa is obviously this little fluffy yellow flower, tiny little yellow flower, and I've smelt them in life, and there's not much scent. It's kind of like a dusty scent. If you could fantasize how it should smell based on how it looks, I guess there's something in here that you would think it's very yellow. It's very fluffy yellow. There's this gourmand element coming in, making it smell more marzipan-y. The plum mix with all that is giving it yet another sort of edible facet. But overall, it's just this strange little ball of marzipan that's rolled up in green fuzz of autumn. So I had to mention it because it's so lovely and unusual, and it just deserves a mention. So that's Mimosa Gold from Exaltatum. First of all, we have my winter florals. Now, for winter, generally, you'd expect some real gourmand, warm, delicious, comforting kind of florals. And I do have those, and I do crave them in winter. But the sort of florals that I do think of specifically for winter, ones that lean austere and cold, a little bit dark, kind of embrace the winter, and I like to wear fragrances that kind of mirror it and really embrace it. So I've got 3 here, and I've got 2 honourable mentions. So let's start with one from Chanel. It's my only Chanel fragrance. All the love and dedication I have for the House of Chanel is all wrapped up in this one big bottle. It is Misia. So this is a beautiful homage to the flower of violet. So violet generally is a flower for me that really works in the winter because of its cold, slightly chalky, powdery way. I love the note of violet, but I like a violet that is cold, a little bit gothic, and not too complicated. Especially like it when it's done well as a lipstick interpretation. Although for me, it's more of a dark gothic scent. I think of a purple crayon when I smell this. It's quite a waxy scent. Chanel obviously are known for their aldehydes. They're not heavy, but they are present. But they give it this waxy surface, which works because it's trying to be a lipstick scent. It works with this mix of violet and rose. There is this aura of being a bit gothic for me. I think there's leather in the EDP. I'm not sure it's in this one. A little bit dark and mysterious. It's a winter scent for me. It's a bit cold, it's a bit austere, it's kind of simple in its way, it's very elegant, it kind of smells a bit purple. It's just beautiful. So that is Misia from Chanel. Another violet fragrance, one that came into my collection actually only this year. My house called Fusciuni. I don't know how to pronounce that, look, I don't know. Viole Nere, black violet. I just think of the most pure, perfect, powdery violet. Pure and perfect, exactly as I like it, because it's slightly cold and it's slightly a little bit gothic. There's a lot of iris in here, which is really all at the beginning. It's a proper rooty, white, chalky iris. And it's weird because the iris actually smells kind of warm and fuzzy. The iris is a bit warm and fuzzy, but as it develops into the violet, I think it gets colder. It actually feels like a cold, chalky violet. It's a tiny bit mature, I think. Simple, but beautifully finished. And I always get this image of a violet growing out of the snow when I smell this. It's very beautiful. It's very winter appropriate, I think. And it's finished and it's beautiful. So that is my winter floral Viole Nere, or Nere. My third option for winter is a rose. I had to have a rose in here somewhere. And it's from the house of Papillon. It's Papillon Artisan Perfumes, and it is Tobacco Rose. Now this is quite a green, mossy kind of a scent. Oak moss. I think there is beeswax in here. You've got rose. There's no actual tobacco listed, but I always find that this wet, mossy element combined with the woods and that kind of honey hue brings this sort of tobacco nuance, like a fresh green tobacco. I always find the rose to me smells red. I don't know. I went to my imagination. It smells tangy, like mossy, pickly moss. And this is very beautiful, really, for spring or autumn as well. Because of that tangy greenness it's got and the drier woody elements, it could be good for spring or autumn. For me, when I wear this in winter is when I get more of the rose. I notice the rose more when it's really cold outside. And that is when I enjoy it the most. And I associate Tobacco Rose with my pub scent. If I'm going out for a pub meal in the winter, a lovely log fire burning away, that crackles and just feels wonderful, and stepping outside from the cold and into this lovely warm pub. It's got mystical woods feel about it. It has this lovely invigorating sharpness about it. It's a little bit of a gothic edge from the rose. My favourite scent from the Papillon, one of my favourite rose fragrances for winter for sure, and yeah, my third choice. So that is Tobacco Rose from Papillon. I'm going to include 2 honourable mentions for winter, and I'm going to whiz through these because it's a very long video. So another rose fragrance here, a really tender, elegant rose, and this contains a waxy facet, a honeyed facet as well, which is surprising me because I generally don't like any kind of a honey in my fragrance at all, but I've had quite a few now in this whole video that have been honeyed or have been waxy. This is from the house of Guerlain, and this is called Rose Barbère. So this is on their original, now discontinued bottles from their Art and Materials collection. This is one I'm going to wear for a special occasion. And the occasion generally will be wintry, and there's just something about the way this fragrance is put together that it's just so elegant and demure and perfect for a winter occasion, maybe even a winter wedding or something. Very demure and composed. The rose feels very like a pink velvety rose. It's a very gentle, elegant, pink velvety rose to me. It has honey and aldehydes. It makes it feel so finished and elegant. It's very special and dressy without being shouty, you know. It's not like that kind of scent. It's a tender, polished, elegant rose for special occasion. Beautiful in winter, framed by the cold weather around it. Rose Barbère, very beautiful rose. And my very quick last honourable mention is another rose fragrance. I can only wear this when it is really cold. So this is from Dior. This is Gris Dior, very popular one from the house. I think a lot of people do really love this as a signature scent. It's such a pretty fragrance, but I can only wear it when it is very, very cold. For whatever reason, the elements of the moss and the patchouli that are surrounding this very pretty rose give me a full-on splitting headache. There's just something about this scent that just triggers headaches for me. I pulled for my sample on a cold day in winter, and it just was beautiful. I didn't get the headache. I just managed to get all those beautiful elements that I knew were there that were hiding behind this headache-inducing scent. But the headache-inducing scent just seems to freeze over or something. I don't know. But I get all the beauty from this in the winter. It is quite a cold rose anyway, I suppose. It's a purple rose that has patchouli moss element. It's very chic. It's a chypre. It's a modern chypre. It's still too sharp for me for the rest of the year. So it's my winter. It's my purple winter rose and honourable mention number 2. And those are my winter florals. So lots of beautiful florals for the entire year, every season covered. So many beautiful flowery fragrances. It's safe to say that I do love my floral fragrances. I'm going to carry on packing these away, taking them all upstairs to my wardrobe and fit them all back in again. I have so many. Thanks for watching as always, and I shall see you on my next one. Over and out.